What's up, dudes? I'm the Dominicator, and in this video I'm going to hypnotize you to get into skateboarding. As in all of my videos, you'll be asked to leave a comment at the end while hypnotized, so go ahead and log into an account that you can use for that. Mute any distractions, and continue when you're ready to get hypnotized. Alright dudes, a little explanation first. Skateboarding is an awesome sport to get into. It's a great solo activity, and it's great to do with friends as well. It's something that's the more that you get into it, the funner that it becomes. And the more that you get into it, the more that you develop your balance, that you develop your athleticism in general. And it's a great way to get in your cardio for the day as well. And so without further ado, if you want to get hypnotized to get into skateboarding, then just listen to the sound of my voice. And now to begin, I just want you to look at the pocket watch in front of you. And as you look at the pocket watch, as you fixate your eyes on the watch, then you might find that it helps to relax you the more and more that you look at it. And that's the longer and longer that you look at that watch, the more and more that it just seems to draw your eyes, and it just seems to draw your gaze along. It just feels so good just to relax to the back and forth motions of the watch, and it might even seem to have a kind of lulling effect on you. And the more and more that you feel that feeling, the better and better that you feel. The more that you feel a wonderful and relaxing feeling, a wonderful and pleasant feeling, a wonderful and pleasantly relaxed feeling that just seems to come up inside of the body, inside of the muscle fibers, that rises up and surges up inside of the face and inside of the head. A nice and sleepy feeling even. And the more and more that you look at that watch, the more and more that it just seems to draw your eyes, and it just seems to draw your gaze toward it, as it just goes back and forth, and back and forth. And you might even find that it just draws you along, draws the body along, draws the mind along as well, and that the back and forth lulling motions just help you to get into an even deeper relaxed state. And then it just feels so good just to go along with that, just to go along with that momentum of the watch as it goes back and forth. It just feels so good, and it's all that I want you to do is just to continue to fixate your eyes, to continue to fixate your gaze on that watch. It feels so good that it might even cause a wonderful and mind-melting sensation to come over the mind, just as if all of the thoughts and cares and worries inside of the mind just melt away. And it just feels so good just to feel that wonderful and mind-melting sensation. And all I want you to do is just to continue to fixate your eyes on the watch. And now I want you to take a nice and deep and even breath in. And as you breathe in, I just want you to feel the stresses and the tensions inside of the body. You might feel some stresses and tensions in the small muscle fibers all throughout the limbs, maybe in the feet, or perhaps in the legs, maybe in the arms, the neck, the shoulders, the face. And the more that you breathe in, more deeply that you breathe in, the more that you'll notice those stresses and tensions. And as you breathe out, each and every single time that you do breathe out, and you can just imagine that you're breathing out those stresses and tensions, and you might even have some stress or tension inside of other places in the body, deep inside of you. Perhaps some butterflies in the stomach. And as you breathe in nice and cool and clean air, you can just imagine that those butterflies just dissolve into that air that you breathe in, and they just come out just like little tiny gold dust particles as you breathe out. And the more that you continue to breathe, the more that you'll just continue to relax, that you'll just continue to dissolve all of those stresses and tensions inside of the body. And the more that you breathe, the more deeply that you breathe, the better and better that you feel. And it just feels so good just to breathe so deeply and so evenly. And it helps you to relax, and it helps you to feel a nice, wonderful, and warm and pleasant feeling that just comes over the body. A nice and wonderful and relaxing, even sleepy feeling that just comes over the body and the mind. As you continue to breathe so deeply, it just feels so good that you might find that the mind, that the brain just automatically just continues to breathe in that nice and deep and even way. And the more and more that you do so, the better and better that you feel. The more and more automatically that you do so, the better and better that you feel. And the more and more that you can just sink down into a nice and deep state of relaxation, a nice and deep state of pleasant relaxation. And now I just want you to fixate and focus your attention on the sound of my voice, and to notice what a relaxing sound that it is, to notice what a pleasant sound that it is. And the more and more that you focus on it, the more and more that you might notice that it has a relaxing tone about it, that it has a relaxing quality about it. And then it just feels so good just to listen to the sound of my voice. And it might even seem as if the sound of my voice has a kind of vibration in it, a kind of magic in it, as it just goes right into your body, seeps right into the skin, goes right in through the ears, right into the mind. And it just shakes out all of the stresses and tensions inside of the muscle fibers in the body. It shakes out all of the stresses and tensions and the thoughts in the mind. And you might imagine that it's just so warm of a wave that it just melts away all of the thoughts and the cares and the worries inside of the mind. And it just feels so good just to feel that wonderful and mind-melting feeling, that wonderful and mind-melting sensation. And all you want to do is just to continue to listen to the sound of my voice. The more that you listen to it, the better and better that you feel, the more that you can feel a nice, wonderful and pleasant feeling from the sound. And you might even feel the pleasantness from the tone of my voice. You might feel a nice, wonderful and pleasant feeling, a feeling that just carries its way all the way into the mind, and it becomes a part of you as well. And you just take in that wonderful pleasantness. The more that you take it in, the better and better that you feel. And the better that you feel, the more easily that you'll be able to go down into that wonderful, completely and totally wonderful, fantastic state of relaxation. That wonderful state of relaxation, just sinking down and going down and dropping down even deeper into a wonderful state of relaxation. And it just feels so good just to go down, just to drop down, just to sink down into that state. And that's all I want you to do, is just to continue to relax to the sound of my voice. And you'll find as you continue to listen to the sound of my voice, you'll find that you can hear a wonderful and warm and masculine and dominant tone from the sound of my voice, more and more so the more that you continue to listen to it. And it just feels so good to feel that, and to feel that tone from the sound of my voice. The more and more that you listen to it, the more and more that you can feel that masculinity, that you can feel that dominance, and it just presses on you. And it might even seem, as I continue to speak to you, that it's just like you have a big brother that's right there beside you, right there behind you. You can feel a wonderful and warm pressure on all sides of the body and all sides of the mind as well. And just the thought of that just helps you to sink down, to go down, to relax down to a nice, a wonderful, completely and totally passive, relaxed state of mind. And the further down that you go, the more and more that you can feel that, and that tonality from the sound of my voice, the more that you can feel that dominance, that nice and warm and benevolent dominance from the sound of my voice. And it just makes you go down even further and drop down even deeper into a wonderful, completely and totally relaxed state of mind. It just feels so good. It just feels so good just having a wonderful, warm, masculine, dominant male authority figure that tells you exactly what it is that it wants you to do. And just knowing that and having me right there with you, it just helps you to go down and drop down, to sink down even deeper into a nice and wonderful, relaxed state of mind. And it just feels so good to do so, and that it's all that you want to do. And the more and more that you do listen to the sound of my voice, the more that you can feel that dominance on all sides of the mind. And that just helps you to go down even further, and further down that you go, the more and more that all you want to do is just to feel that, and to feel that feeling of dominance on all sides of the mind as you continue going down, dropping down and sinking down into that state. It just feels so good. It's all that you want to do is just to feel that, and to feel that dominance from the sound of my voice and from my presence. The more that you follow the sound of my voice, the more that you'll want to follow the sound of my voice. And the more that you receive my suggestions, the more that you'll want to receive them. And so it just makes you want to receive commands instead. And the more that you do receive those commands, the more that you're going to want to receive those commands. And the more that you're going to want to follow them. And it just feels so good to follow those commands. It just feels so good to obey them. And so all I want you to do is just to obey those commands. The more that you do so, the better and better that you feel. The more that you feel a wonderful, completely and totally wonderful, pleasant feeling that just surges over the body and over the mind. Wonderful and warm waves of relaxation and pleasantness. just for following the sound of my voice and obeying that masculine and dominant male authority figure that tells you exactly what it is that he wants you to do. And in a moment's time, in a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers and I'll say the word sleep. And who knows when that moment will be, but when I do, then you're going to feel a funny feeling as if the eyes are going to snap shut, they're going to lock shut. And your eyes may be open, they may be closed. Now, you might have felt the heaviness coming over the eyes so intensely that they just want to drop down and close down and shut down all by themselves. You might have felt the heaviness coming over the thoughts so intensely that those thoughts just want to shut down, to go down, to drop down all by themselves. You might feel that the sound of my voice just seems to drip and drop little tiny drops of lead on the eyelids and on the thoughts inside of the mind. They just become so very heavy that you can't even hold them up at all. But in a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers, and when I do, it's just going to be as if a switch is flipped off inside of the mind, inside of the brain, and the mind is just going to shut down, to go down, to drop down into a wonderful, completely and totally relaxed state, a state that is very dreamy and very drifting. And at the same time, the eyes are going to shut down. They're going to shut down and lock down in place. And when they do, it's just going to feel so good to go down. It's just going to feel so good to drop down even further into that wonderful and warm and masculine dominant feeling. And the further down that you go, the better that you'll feel. And the better that you'll feel, the further down that you'll go. And the mind will just open up all by itself. As it might even seem that the sound of my voice just fades into the background. It just fades into the background. That's just fine, because there's always a part of the mind that can listen to and follow the sound of my voice even as you drift down, even as you go down, drop down into that wonderful state, even as you drift down and go down and drop down into that wonderful state, just feeling that heaviness all over the body and all over the eyelids and all over the mind. And the further down that you go, the more that you feel that heaviness, the better that you feel, and the better that you feel, the more that you can just relax. But now, I just want you to try to keep the thoughts up, just try to keep the eyes unlocked for just a moment more. The more that you try, the more that you'll feel the force of your own muscles just trying to keep those eyes up. The more that you'll feel the force of your own mind just trying to keep those thoughts up, and as they do, then you'll just find that they become heavier and heavier, and heavier and heavier with each and every single passing second. And all you want to do now is just to feel that snap of the fingers just take you down, just drop you down, just sink you down into that nice, that wonderful, completely and totally relaxed state of mind. And now, sleep, sleep, sleep. Just go down, drop down, and sink down into that wonderful, wonderful state. And as you do drop down, as you do sink down, as you do go down into that wonderful, completely and totally relaxed state of mind, and you might even feel as if you're just sinking down into a wonderful and silky smooth substance, a kind of liquid, a wonderful liquid, just as if you were sinking down into a hot tub. A wonderful feeling, just as if the water in that tub were made from the sound of my voice, and it were just curling around you. You can feel a wonderful, warm, and masculine and dominant feeling from that, and from that texture of the water around you. It just feels so good that all you want to do is just to sink down, to go down, to drop down even deeper into it. And you might see in your mind's eye some pictures, images of places or people or things that just seem to come in and leave as quickly as they came. You might begin to have a kind of dream of things from the recent past, or maybe from the far past, and old memories. And the more that you drop down, that you sink down, the more that these will seem to meld together. And you might even see nothing at all, and that's just fine. And perhaps it means that the mind is just so very relaxed that all you want to do is just to sink down, to go down, to drop down even further into that wonderful and dreamy state. And the more that you do so, the better and better that you feel. The more that you feel, the feelings of sleepiness just seem to creep up into the mind and wrap around the mind and become a part of you. And the more that the mind, that the unconscious mind just opens up, and opens up more and more to my words, to my suggestions, and to my commands. And as it happens, it just feels so good. And all you want to do is just to feel that feeling of the mind just opening up even more. And now I want you just to imagine that you have gone to the store. At the store, you're at perhaps a skate shop or a place where you can buy a skateboard and skateboarding shoes. And as you look around the store and all of the skateboards that are there, all of the skateboarding shoes that are there, and the equipment that's there, then you might have a sense of curiosity and a sense of wonder about all the different skateboards that are there. And you might wonder whether or not a skateboard or a longboard might be right for you. You might wonder about the length of the skateboard that you should have and the way that the skateboard is designed. And the more that you think about it, the more that you look around, the more that it inspires in you a feeling of curiosity and a feeling of wonder about these things. And you might wonder about the answers to all of these questions. And as you feel that sense of wonder, you also feel a feeling of excitement, a feeling of anticipation, just for wanting to know. And the more and more that you do learn about these things, and the better and better that you feel about it, the more and more confident that you feel about it. And the better that you feel about picking out a skateboard. And you might even find that the very thought of these questions just draws you, and just draws you along to read more about skateboarding. And the more that you read about it, the more that you learn about it, the better and better that you feel. The more that you have an idea that you know what you're doing, that you know exactly what you're doing. And that as you do make that purchase of a board, that you do make that purchase of either a skateboard or a longboard and those skating shoes, that you can feel confident that you know exactly what you're doing, that you're getting exactly what would be right for you. And that's such a good feeling. And it also gives you a wonderful feeling of anticipation, a feeling of excitement for wanting to try out that new board. It just feels so exciting, just wanting to try that out. So now all you want to do is just to begin your adventure into skateboarding. And now you can imagine that you bought the board that's just right for you, and that you have the shoes that are just right, and you've got all the equipment, everything that you need, all the safety gear and everything. And now you're about to go outside and begin skateboarding. So you choose a place, maybe an empty parking lot or a park or somewhere. And you can start out in a place where you'll be alone and that you don't have to feel afraid at all of banging into anything or knocking into anything. And as you put down the skateboard, just imagine that you're putting it down on the ground and that you place your foot on it and that you're going to take your very first stride. And as you place your foot on the skateboard and then you place both feet on it, you can feel your body as it shifts and changes direction and begins to balance itself on the board. And as you feel the momentum of the body, as you feel the momentum of the board, as it just moves a little bit, and you can feel exactly what an exercise that it is to balance yourself on the board. And it feels just as if you were riding a bicycle for the very first time. Or it might even feel as if you're riding a roller coaster. You feel all the feelings of momentum and the changes and shifts and balance of your body as you just move about just a little bit. And you know that's the better and better that you get at it, the more and more that you're going to feel that, the more and more fun it's going to be, and the more and more control that you'll have over the board. And you can just imagine pressing down on that board and then pushing down on the ground to move yourself forward, picking your feet up and turning them to the side of the board, and so that you begin to coast along on the ground, just feeling the momentum of your body and feeling the momentum of the skating as you move along. And it just feels so good just to feel that. It feels so good just to feel the momentum of your body as you move along the ground. It feels so good that to know that the more and more that you do it, that the better and better that you'll get at it, and the better and better that it's going to feel. And already you can feel that you're beginning in some good cardio just by balancing yourself on the board and just by moving around. And it's just such a good and such an exciting feeling just to know that you've taken that very first step in skateboarding. And it just makes you want to do it even more and more. And you know that the more that you do it, the more confident that you'll be in it. And the more confident that you become in it, the better and better that you'll feel about using it as just a normal mode of transport and just skating along in the neighborhood, skating along on the sidewalks or on the street or wherever it is, in the parks or anywhere that it is that you just imagine using that skateboard. The more that you do skateboard, just use the skateboard normally, then the more and more comfortable that you'll be with performing tricks. And before you know it, then you'll be able to hop over obstacles and do all those kinds of cool tricks. And the thought of that, and the anticipation of that just makes you feel so good. And all you want to do is just to continue skateboarding. And now that you've taken that very first step toward skateboarding, then you can feel just like a skater dude. That's what you are now. Now that you have taken that very first step, all you have to do is just to get a skateboard, get the right shoes, get the right safety gear, and just to take your very first step. And when you do, then you're going to feel even more like a skater dude. And it just feels so good to feel that way. In a little while, I'm going to count you back up into the waking world, and as I do, I want you to carry that feeling of being a skater dude back with you up into the waking world, because it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to have that confidence and knowing that so you can learn how to get into skateboarding. And so, as I snap my fingers and say the words wake up, you're going to be in a nice and half awake and half a sleep state. And while you're in that state, I want you to leave a comment below, a comment that says, I am a skater dude. I want you to leave a comment that says, I am a skater dude. And when you leave that comment, then you're going to feel just like a skater dude. You're going to feel a burst of energy, a burst of masculine energy that just rises up inside of you, a burst of that athletic drive and that athletic desire to go out and get that skateboard and to start doing that skateboarding and take the very first steps. And this could feel so awesome. And that's exactly what you want to do. Alright, now I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and as I do count from 1 to 5, I want you to carry all of these good and all these positive feelings back with you into the waking world. And you're going to carry back with you that wonderful feeling of anticipation, that wonderful feeling of excitement, that wonderful feeling of athletic drive, just wanting to get into skateboarding. But now, beginning with 1, as you begin to rise up, back up into the waking world, and 2, coming up even further and even faster, just feeling so great. And 3, already halfway there, just feeling awesome. And 4, almost all the way back up. And 5, eyes open and wide awake. Alright dudes, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and check out Dominicator.com to visit my t-shirt store, commission a video, or to schedule an appointment with me to get hypnotized. I've also got some digital downloads now on my site, and if you'd like other ways to support me, then you can check out my Patreon, and you can also buy me a gift from my Amazon wishlist. Any support is much appreciated. Alright, catch you later dudes.